Welcome to Brands Hatch and welcome to the MX5 Cup Summer Championship here on WorldSimSeries.com. We're in towards the end of the qualifying session with Jan Nimtz about a second up at the front of the field in pole position ahead of Buric and Wu. The lap times a little bit behind are closer, but then as we move on to 18th, it's about a 10-second gap, so it's almost like they're in a different category. And I'm joined, as always, by Lodinas.
Good evening, Gustas, and welcome everyone to the Summer Championship, which consists of two different racing series. We start off with the two sprints of the MX5 Championship, and then we'll head over to the Porsche Cup Summer Championship. Two more sprint races afterwards. Each race is 15 minutes long. The second race sees the top 5 finishers from the first race starting in a reversed order, creating a little bit more racing scenarios. And let's head back to the MX5 Summer Championship, where currently Jan Nimtz, to no one's surprise, is at the top of the tables in this qualifying session, which still has 1 minute and 45 seconds on the clock. So some of the drivers might finish off this lap and still have the chance to start another one. Maybe some of the drivers might also have the chance to put in a couple of fast laps. Well, not at this time frame already, but Jan Nimtz is right around the final corner to complete his current lap, and he might go even faster, which wouldn't be a surprise, but he wouldn't see much of competition this evening.
What is a surprise, though, is Kovalevskis and Lapo, the joint championship leaders. Lapo ahead on count back, but Lapo down in 7th with Kovalevskis down in 4th. So the championship leaders coming out of round 1, they're struggling at the moment.
Yep, and which is, well, a bigger surprise for me is the lap time difference. Look at the gap between Jan Nimtz and Yuri Lapo. I believe Yuri Lapo was the driver who qualified 2nd in the previous round. He's now 7th, 1.8 seconds behind the lap time that Jan Nimtz managed to put in. So hopefully some of the drivers still have something in their pocket to go slightly faster. Well, there we go. Yeah, Yuri Lapo putting in a 1:39.4, not close to the 1 minute 38 zone. And what about 1 minute and 37, which Jan Nimtz managed to achieve with his previous attempt, and he's still on a flyer, I believe. So he still might go faster, and that would be terrifying for the remaining of the grid.
Yep, real huge difference on a track. Well, you can make a difference around here. It's a 1 minute, well, just about 40 lap, 37 for Nimtz, but it's difficult to make these sorts of gains. Also a track that the drivers know well, and well, to put 1.4 seconds, 1.3 to second place over your competition, it does look like, well, domination almost in this qualifying session. Let's see if Nimtz can have an improvement this time around.
Nope. He does not go faster, but I doubt he needs to. Buric has already ended his qualifying run. Kovalevskis moves up to 2nd position with a lap time of 1 minute 39.0, so still a little bit more than 1 second behind. Tarciali remains 4th, so we have one fast driver around the final corner. That's Yuri Lapo. Let's stick around with him and see if he'll manage to put in a faster lap time. So far running a little bit wide, almost too wide, but I think he didn't clip the gravel, which didn't slow him down. It looked like he went in a little bit too fast, and slight improvement.
Yep. 1 place up, but still only 4th position for your championship leader. Jan Nimtz on pole by over a second. And, well, that is terrifying to his competitors. If he can keep this pace up during the race, well, it will be difficult for anybody else to fight back.
Yep, it looks like we have roughly 2 minutes till we see the cars lining up behind the grid, so I think it's the perfect time now to go through the qualifying session results. We have 19 drivers in total. Gustas, are you up with the results table?
Yep, I can see the qualifying results. Jan Nims takes pole position ahead of Kovalevskis. Then it's Burridge, Lapo in row 2. Darchali and McFly in row 3. Then comes Vu, Sergunas, Kamatka, Heisenberg to finish out your top 10. Bong lines up alongside Martin in 11th and 12th. 13th for Gedzavicius, 14th for Borsari. Diana in 15th, 16th for Drabchik, 17th for Mark. Slicks in 18th and 19th for Wallace. Wallace qualifying 8.8 seconds behind pole.
What a huge gap. Another interesting moment in this race is the light car of Jan Nims. Remember, he had issues in the first round. In the first race, he disconnected or maybe had some sort of issue, so he didn't finish that first run. I believe he won the second one, but therefore he didn't receive the weight penalty that the top 3 finishers of one event receive. So he's 15 kilograms lighter than Yuri Lapo, 10 kilograms lighter than Kovalevskis, and 5 kilograms lighter than Karnatka. And as we speak about that, we see the cars line up on the grid. By the way, if you wonder why there are such huge gaps between the drivers, well, it's a simple explanation. This series has a license requirement of rookie drivers. So that means you can meet some pro or alien drivers on the field, battling drivers who have only a rookie license. Then they are starting out their sim racing careers. So that's why we have those huge gaps.
Yep, and we're ready to go for race 1, and we're off. Looks like Jan Nims gets a decent getaway. A few cars sliding a little bit as they got off the line, but Jan Nims, well, he needs to keep this lead down into turn 1 and does so quite comfortably. Lapo trying to take it around the outside of Burridge. Doesn't happen, and he's going to have some pressure from behind coming in to turn 2. He's going to go side by side with Tarchali, who's now up into 5th because Lapo went super duper wide down into 6th position, and I think, well, not dropping more, but still down into 6th. Jan Nims is actually, oh no, he's not lost the lead because Wallace, I think, is down onto pit road.
Yep, I think Wallace didn't start this race, possibly. I've seen someone disconnect just before the race starts, so he's not your current leader. The timing table will reset as soon as the drivers will cross the line. We don't need to wait for that. You can already see the confirmation. So Yuri Lapo is down into 5th position, fighting with Tarchali. Remembering what happened 2 weeks ago, Yuri Lapo, he qualified to quite high up the order, but well, he didn't avoid mistakes right after the lights went off. And it looks like he's still kind of on the same run.
Yep, he's still struggling, but struggling more than maybe we would have expected. Sergunas around the outside, and if he keeps it off the grass, or at least the gravel trap, might just get that position. Doesn't, because Gedzavicius goes up, and Gedzavicius now takes a trip outside of the white lines. And Nims continues to lead this one at the front of the field, 1.2 seconds ahead of anybody else. Looking at Gedzavicius here on your screens in 11th place. Remember, top 5 are the cars that are reversed. So Yuri Lapo in that golden position, but McFly, he's about to make a move, maybe, at least thinking about it. Just 4/10 behind Yuri Lapo. This is your battle for pole position in race 2 in the Ring Freaks livery.
Yep, so McFly knows what he's up to at this moment, and well, at least he tries to put up some more pressure to the driver in front. Yuri Lapo, he's kind of being known as a driver who doesn't avoid mistakes, so McFly tries to use that knowledge to his own advantage and just tries to sit there right on the tail of the purple car in front of him as we approach Hawthorne's corner, isn't it? Just had to double check.
I don't have the track map up, but sure, I'll take your word for it this time.
Yep.
Still on board with McFly. I thought that was a pretty big slide. Obviously, you can slide these MX-5 cars quite a bit, and well, McFly trying to do something here. This actually group of 3 cars has really dropped off the lead. 5.2 from the lead, and about 2.5 from 3rd position. That's from Tarchali. And he's got Lapo and McFly behind him, but they've dropped off that lead pack. Obviously, the leader's gone. 2.2 seconds. Yandims can, well, I wouldn't call it cruise to the line, but as close to that as you can. But Kovalevskis and Burridge, they're the battle for P2, and that battle's close. McFly also close to Lapo. Lapo taking that penalty of 15 kilos from the first round, but it is affecting him more than maybe we would have expected. Now his goal is obviously hang on to P5 for pole position in race 2. If he doesn't, well, he's gonna really struggle then. Starting from 6th will not be the preferred option.
Well, all he needs to do is try and avoid mistakes that come along the way. And while doing so, he's also kind of gaining slightly on Tarchali in front. Oh no, and he went a little bit wide in around the corner, and there's the chance for McFly running side by side. It wasn't enough, so Yuri Lapo managed to get back on the throttle slightly earlier, but the battle is on. So Yuri Lapo made the slightest mistake, and it was almost enough for McFly to get used of this situation. He's still behind, but he's there all around the mirrors. Who's off? That's Karnatka. Karnatka started 9th. He was running 7th. Now he is running somewhere down the pack, currently 13th. And he'll lose way more places. So he was about to join the battle, the 3-car battle, which might have been a 4-car battle, but he missed his chance. While McFly is fighting for that very important 5th position in this first race, because it's gonna turn into a pole position after the race finishes.
Yep, Lapo trying to catch up to Tarchali as well, so very much a freeway battle for 4th. And obviously you still want to finish 4th though, because that's important points, and well, it's still be a front row, but McFly down the inside, and I think he might just about be able to make it. Yes, he does. Finally gets that position after, well, being close last lap. So McFly showing good pace.
Yep, he knew his move, he knew his rival pretty well from racing behind him for a couple of laps, and I think he was prepared for that move, and he just went for it. Into the Druid's corner, and I think he completed the move quite brilliantly. And look now, he's going for P4, so he has a little bit more pace than Lapo and Tarchali. So Lapo needs to stick up with the drivers in front. He might get his a piece of that cake for him also, but he needs to try and not drop behind the drivers. McFly, he was forced to slow down slightly by Tarchali, and there's the comeback from Yuri Lapo. Beautiful
smart move by Lapo, getting it done. And well, McFly has to be careful not to go over 88 miles an hour. I don't know if Lodinas can get that reference, but I'm sure somebody in the chat does. Once he hits 88 miles an hour, he'll travel back in time. No? Back to the Future?
I'm
Marty
not sure
McFly?
what that is. No.
Back to the Future? No?
I don't know, maybe.
Back to the Future? Marty McFly? No way. Alright. Well, cool.
We have to ask the driver after the race, or maybe he'll leave a comment.
If he's related, but actually, I was gonna say Marty McFly. I don't think that's Marty McFly. But going for third, didn't make that move.
Yeah, but this is a beautiful battle, and all the drivers are involved.
Like Mevo McFly. So, but close enough. It's still M McFly. So,
Yeah.
I don't know how you don't know Back to the Future, the movie.
I know the movie Back to the Future.
Yeah.
I don't
Marty
know the
McFly.
mark. Yeah, but I don't
main
know
guy,
what
Marty
was
McFly.
the speed that the car
88
needed
miles
to
an hour.
Okay, you know that.
DeLorean, yeah. Oh, come on. All right, to the outside comes McFly into the right-hander, and around the outside, well, keeps his foot in it, and we'll see what happens here. Lapo positioned himself very well to try and capitalize on this one, but can't find the space. Now gonna go to the inside. The track tightens up here. They're gonna go 3 wide down one of the back straights here, and I think McFly's just about got P4.
Yep, he did it, but beautiful driving by Yuri Lapo. He prepared his move pretty nicely. He was going into the inside of the corner, but then decided to not tighten up that one and prepare the move for the next one, for the next corner, and that worked out pretty nicely. So he's back into P5, which turns into the provisional pole position after the race finishes. He just needs to hold on to it. It looks like that Charlie is struggling a little bit, and he dropped off already by 0.6 of a second, and he's got company from behind. Martin is approaching him, and while these 3 drivers were battling each other, it looks like they slowed down slightly too much, and that allowed the drivers behind to get a little bit closer. But now McFly is into clean air, though he runs a little bit too wide exiting the 30s corner. Oh, that was actually Graham Hill Bend. Oh, Yuri Lapo running wide on a very important part of the circuit while exiting onto the Pilgrim's drop.
Now. He's actually got enough of a gap now, interestingly. So Tarchali has dropped off. And, well, it looked like he was quite confident. Now battle against Martin here. And Martin, well, hangs back for the moment, but gonna go to the inside. A little bit of a touch there, but I think Martin might just about be able to make that move. Oh, this is...
Yep, this is the battle for the second position. Burridge was in front of Kovalevskis for a short moment of time during this lap. Kovalevskis managed to get back in front, so at least two battles happening in the top 10 of the first race. Kovalevskis
held on to 6th, but here we go. Down the front straight away they come. And Kovalevskis, well, he leaves a gap on the inside for Burridge. He's going to try and hold it around the outside into turn 1 and has to back out of it. So backs out of it, but he's going to try and get the switch back on the exit. I think he's made it. They're going to come side by side into the hairpin. And I think Kovalevskis has just about got it. Yes, he does. So keeps the lead, at least for the time being. And we'll see how long he can continue to keep that lead.
Oh, and they are already 9.5 seconds behind Jan Nims, who is out in front on his own.
Yeah, not the lead. Yes. Yep, so second place for Kovalevskis. Still tries to hold on to that one. It looks a difficult cause here because Burridge is caught up. Well, he was a bit back after lap 1. He's caught up and he's really putting up pressure on Kovalevskis. So Kovalevskis, well, will have to make this MX-5 as wide as the circuit here. And, well, McFly might have a chance to turn back the time. Well, Kovalevskis will have to do it right the whole time. This is Martin, straight into the wall, and wow, okay.
Oh.
Nope. I was gonna say lucky with the rejoin, but Heisenberg.
Yeah, it wasn't so lucky. Heisenberg.
Actually, that's another movie star. Heisenberg?
Are we watching a movie series?
Well, I mean Heisenberg. You don't know
what?
Heisenberg?
No, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, I might know him, but I'm not.
No, Breaking Bad.
Oh no, I haven't seen Breaking Bad.
No. Bald guy, Heisenberg?
Yeah,
okay.
Maybe. So
yeah.
we have a couple of movie stars. So if speaking about famous people, so we also have Mark Martin, who is currently 11th, a famous NASCAR driver.
Yeah. Mark Martin's racing. Okay, from Wales. So moved, but sure, Mark Martin's on track.
Yeah. So. Quite
Actually,
a few of
Mike
famous
Martin.
names.
So Michael Martin. So Mike Martin. So yeah, pretty close. We've got a star-studded grid here. Very interesting. So McFly still in P4. Lapo still in P5. Kovalevskis and Burge, that gap is 0.3, so still calm, I guess, for that position. Well, as calm as could be.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Burge is thinking of a master plan of how to take that second position away of Kovalevskis. It looks like Burge has a little bit more pace, well, at least while he's trying to chase down Kovalevskis. I would like to see how his pace...
Oh, wow, round the outside, he's gonna make it! Wow, round the outside, what a move! Kovalevskis, well, caught napping. He tried to defend that one into a turn where, well, you can't really overtake, but round the outside, Burge gets it done. Now, Kovalevskis, well, he'll have to use the slipstream and try and do something, because it does look to me like Burge has got the upper hand on pace. And, well, if he does, then Kovalevskis will struggle to repass him, so has to try something here. By the way, Jan Nim's 12 seconds. Up in front.
And if my calculations are correct, if Jan Nims will not lift off the throttle before he crosses the start and finish line, we should have 2 laps remaining in this race, unless Jan Nims will decide that it is enough and will lift slightly before crossing the line. That should be really tight with the clock for the current race leader. He has the privilege to slow down slightly to maybe avoid that
he'd have to drop about 5 seconds here.
Yep.
So I don't think that's going to happen, but here comes Kovalevskis to the outside. Well, maybe he'll try and repeat that move that Burge did on him.
He goes for it. Nah, he doesn't. He backed off.
He was too far away, definitely. There was no chance at that one. And, well, trying to make moves, that just loses you time, especially moves that well, they're not going to be made, and Burge now, finally, he's got a bit of breathing space, 0.6 of a second in front. And
yep. And Jan Nims just started his final lap of this first race, so these guys will have another lap to finish this fight off, but it looks like Kovalevskis just lost a little bit too much in this battle. To Burge, he dropped down to 0.6 of a second. That is a little bit of a big gap, especially while you approach the Druid's Corner, one of the more convenient places on the racetrack for those moves to happen, because this is the biggest braking zone that the drivers have around that lap, which definitely creates really comfortable situations for those overtakes to take place. Drivers settling down. Sergiunas tries to battle out with Mickevicius for P7. Gap is also roughly half of a second, a little bit more, so most of the drivers are basically safe to stay in the positions that they are. Of course, if they avoid further mistakes. Look at the pace of Burge. He managed to overtake Kovalevskis. Now he's already 1 second ahead, but he'll start the second race behind Kovalevskis, so it's gonna depend on the successful start that the drivers will have the chance to make. But no problems for Jan Nims whatsoever. Right around the final corner to take the checkered flag of the first race and prepare himself for the second running, starting from 5th place. I don't see any troubles that Jan Nims might face during the second race, but you never know. Well, when starting from a no comfortable position, which is pole position.
But he doesn't. I mean, he doesn't really have to take any risks. Burge, P2, P3 goes to Kovalevskis. In Jan Nims, he doesn't have to take.
What happened to Yuri
risk.
Lapo? Oh
Nothing.
no, he's 5th. Slicks is in pits, so yeah, I thought Slicks came out of nowhere and
That would have
took
been
the
pretty
5th place.
impressive, as he was running, well, almost last this whole race. So.
Yeah. Well, Slicks runs. He finished 9th actually. Oh no, Slicks, he was running slightly further up the order, but I think he had issues on the final lap because he's still losing places, or was he running 1 lap behind? I'm not sure because, well...
yeah, I think he was 1 lap behind because, I mean, also in qualifying, 18th place and about 8 seconds off the lead, so Yeah, it does look to me like he completed 1 lap less.
Most likely.
Yep, he crossed the line and he's completed 9. So 6 with a 16th place finish.
Yeah, that's why he was mixed between the leaders, as the system didn't understand that right off. But there is the first race of the second round of the Summer MX5 Championship is on the table. Jan Nims took an easy win with a gap of 15 seconds against the second place driver Boric. Kovalevskis finished third. One division this evening, so all 19 racers sharing the same track, and they get the chance to rest off a little bit, maybe sip some water, think about the strategy, and prepare for the next race.
And, well, I think it's a chance for Jan Nims just to calm down a little bit. Think of how he's going to approach this one. He's obviously quick and just needs to take his time. He's got 15 minutes to make his moves. He's very much there on pace, so just needs to think about making those moves.
Yep, so hopefully we will not have that much of a wait time as we did have last week.
Just waiting to skip over the session, I believe.
Yep, so I think we can make a short pause and come back to you right after a couple of minutes. Yep, so we are back right on time for the second.
Getting ready to go once again for 15 more minutes. Remember, right after this one, we'll be heading to the Porsche Cup race. And we're off one more time. Beautiful start by Lapo. Keeps the lead and keeps it by quite a big margin. Yep, could be. I felt like there was an empty grid spot. Here comes Burridge. Oh, somebody off into the grass. Here comes Burridge, already up into second place. Jan Nims contact with McFly, and now Jan Nims up into third. Kovalevskis didn't start. No, he's in the... No, yeah. And here, so Lapo in the lead, Burridge, then Nims, then Tarchali, then McFly, then Gedzavicius, then Martin, then Fong, then Sargunas. Your top 10. Here comes McFly under threat from Tarchali. Interesting to be under threat from Tarchali, who he was overtaken in race 1. McFly trying to battle it out. I think Burridge getting very close. Nope, that gap's changed a little bit. Here comes McFly losing a few more spots. He's going to be under attack again here, but gets out just under attack from Martin, and somehow they survived that one. Continues to keep on going, still side by side behind. Yep, that's Gedzavicius and Martin, and I think Gedzavicius might just have this place. He does, but now they've got Fong coming up behind them. They're going to make it free wide down the front straightaway here at Brands Hatch. Oh, almost free wide. 2.5 wide as they come in. Now into the turn free wide, and Fong is going to come out ahead on this one, but it's not over yet, I think. Gedzavicius will try and make a move down the inside once again. Still side by side, and I think Gedzavicius has just about got this one. Maybe Martin as well. Sargunas now coming up against Martin because Martin had a slide. Sargunas now up into 8th, so Martin losing quite a few positions. And battle for the lead is going to come up in a moment's time. Kovalevskis disconnected, so some kind of issue there definitely. Here comes Nims. Has to weigh up this one. Well, he's going to go down the inside here. Lapo, well, he is going to fight this one. I thought he was backing out. No way. He's going to fight this one and, well, fight to hold on for a few more turns, for a few more laps, maybe. I think it would be difficult to hold back Jan Nims for the whole race. I mean, he was there, so what now Lapo has to do is keep Nims behind so that Burridge stays behind as well. Easier said than done, sure, but now Nims is acting kind of like a buffer between these two, so oh, and Lapo goes very wide. Lapo super duper wide, and he's gonna fight back into here. I think he is. Nope, backs out of it, and he's gonna lose 2 places. Yep, shouldn't have backed out of it. You either go for it or you don't. As soon as you back out, you lose 2, 3, 4, 5 positions. So now Burridge up into 2nd place, back up into 2nd place, as that's where he finished in race 1. But Juri Lapo has a chance at least of taking a podium place here. Backs out of it. He can't really do much. I mean, he's got those 15 kilos on him, but I really don't think it should be affecting him this much. Well, clearly it is, and we know Lapo's fast, so it's definitely something wrong here. See if Lapo can fight back. I think it would be difficult, but oh, McFly really getting sideways there in the background ahead of Tarchali. I think Lapo, if he can stay behind, if he can keep in the slipstream, maybe he can try and come back on this one. And staying behind, Burridge defending this one. He thinks Lapo is definitely an aggressive threat behind. If I were them, well, I wouldn't be battling so hard. They do have the chance of McFly coming up. Yep, and we'll see if he joins the Porsche Cup race as well. Actually, we can check if he's registered for that one. No. No, he's not registered for that session, so won't be participating in the Porsche Cup. Yeah, so Mendelis actually quickest in pre-qualifying. Still, this battle for 6th. Martin versus Gedzavicius. Gedzavicius in 6th, Martin in 7th. The car chasing behind. Actually, Lapo doing a fantastic job as he's still comfortably behind Burridge. 0.2 of a second behind, so he's staying in that slipstream, being pulled along, and doing a good job. We'll see how much further into the race they can carry that. If Lapo stays behind, he might just be able to force Burridge into a mistake. Speaking of forcing somebody into a mistake, beautiful move by Martin. Forced Gedzavicius to the inside, compromised his exit, and then gets the switch back on the exit as well. Now he's going to be to the outside of the final turn. If he can keep that foot pinned on the outside, he might just have a better run. They've got Sargunas behind them as well, who might just about make it free wide. Nope, decides not to do it. To the outside, Martin down into turn 1. Who's going to be later on the brakes? Think it's Martin, but just a little bit wide. Still side by side, these two. And Martin, well, maybe he'll manage to outbrake Gedzavicius into here. They're going to stay side by side, and normally this would mean that into here, Martin's going to make the move. Yes, finally does it. They spent about half the lap side by side, but Martin finally up into 6th.
Yep, a beautiful battle.
Oh, slide, big slide for Martin. This is going to give a chance for Gedzavicius to come back on this one. And coming in to the right, it's a difficult back section here of the circuit into the forest, but Martin holds the inside and he's going to keep 6th place for the time being. Sargunas now has a shot at this one. Nope. Backs out of it. Well, at least doesn't try it. Oh, big slide. So these MX-5s really looking to be a handful.
Well, they have traction control and ABS for the drivers, but I believe anyone who wants to drive fast, these low-powered vehicles, they turned those features off, and Martin is off the circuit, so he was running 6th, now he's down into P10, which is not such a good position, so he didn't hold off the pressure from Gdzavicius and Sargiunas, and both of these drivers, they continue to battle each other as they were in the first race.
And Sargiunas still has a chance to make a move here.
Yep, and they battled each other in the first race, and it was Gdzavicius who was in front of Sargiunas, and Sargiunas, well, he tried to overtake Gdzavicius, but he didn't make it. He still has 4 minutes and 5 seconds to compensate that in the second race. They finished 8th and 7th in the first one. They are currently 6th and 7th in the second one. Karnatka is going on Fong. He's another driver who might join this battle. I think he was quite fast in the qualifying session. Well, he qualified 9th, and then he made a mistake in the first race. He tries to compensate that in the second one. 1:37.9, the fastest lap time by Jan Nim so far, almost matching the qualifying pace. Well, actually going slightly faster than he was in the qualifying session. He was slightly slower in the first race. It looks like he's enjoying this run. Oh, Yuri Lapo and Buric.
Oh, Lapo back up into second,
Yep.
so Birch has definitely made a mistake somewhere, because that gap was about 1.5 last time I looked. So Lapo now has a chance of holding on for P2, and, well, there's a chance now for him to hold on. There's not much time to go. Just looking at when the leader crossed the line.
Someone's off the track? Well, at least I hear some noises in my... Yep, it was about marker, I believe. Yeah.
Yep, just letting everybody through. And... I believe Jan Nims will have one more at the end of this one, unless he backs out of it a little bit. It's tight, but I think he'd have to back out of it to go to the end. Lapo still on your screens.
Yep, so Mark Martin, he ran wide. Now he's trying to get back in.
Definitely not Mark Martin. It's Mike.
I'm sorry, I kind of got familiar with our famous names in this race, so getting a little bit confused. Yep, Martin, he's battling for P7, and he was running 6th at one point in this race. Was battling hard, it looks like. Well, he was actually battling with Gdzavicius and Sargiunas. Oh, there's someone off the track again, and another back marker, I believe. Yep, so...
Could it be the same car? The gap's quite big. Gdzavicius took Charlie 10 seconds.
Yeah, possibly it is. So hopefully that the back marker will not run into the way of these battling drivers as Martin goes around the outside into the first corner down the hill. Tries to stick to the outside, it doesn't work, so he's still forced to choose the outside line, and they don't fit
into the wall.
Yep, this is a big accident for Martin, and that's not the first one in this race for the driver. He was enjoying his way back into, well, at least the 7th position, but you never expect your rival to push you off the racetrack while running down the straight. Well, it looks like there's some work on the table for our race control. Yep, that's
Fong versus Heisenberg.
Yep.
And Fong holds on to that one. Heisenberg really tried a super late lunge. You can try it into that turn, but it normally never ends with an overtake because you're so tight on the exit. Because the corner is so open on entry, it tightens up on the exit and just becomes impossible to make a move, really, unless you really send it and almost overshoot the corner. Time running out, and...
That's the finish. Yep, it is.
It does say final lap at the top and says finish on Yep, it is the checkered flag. So Nims actually backed off of it a little bit. Yep, 39-2. So backed off of it to get the checkered flag. And yeah, Nims wins this one ahead of Lapo, ahead of Burge. Then it's McFly, Tarchali, Gidzavicius, Sergunas. This is still a battle. Then it will be Martin in.
Oh,
8.
beautiful finish, but I think Heisenberg has it. I think Heisenberg. No, it's actually Fong who took the checkered flag in 9th and has Heisenberg finished 10th. The gap between the drivers is 4600th of a second.
46 thousandths of a second.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked closer, actually. It's a bigger gap than I expected. Wu in 11th, 12th for Kamatka, 13th for Borsari, Drabchik in 14th. Diana will finish 16th. 17th will go to Mark. Because Slicks is a lap down. No, actually, Mark, is he a lap down as well?
Yeah, yep, he is. So Slicks 16th and Mark 17th. Kovalevskis, well, he did pretty well in the first race.
Mark does finish 16th, so Slicks in 17th. And Kovalevskis, he didn't take the start, so that's why he's that far down.
Well, he was on the circuit, but as soon as he saw himself running 1 or 2 laps down, I think he decided to call it the day. So the first 2 races of this evening are in the books. Our referee will have some work to do after the race has finished, go through all the accidents, and as you know it already, we have the second championship ahead of us, which is the Porsche Cup championship that should start pretty soon. So we will leave you with a little bit of a commercial break and get back to you as soon as we get there.
Welcome back to Brands Hatch, and it is the end of the Porsche Cup qualifying session. Matas Mendelis on pole by about 0.2 of a second. Well, it's a 0.206 the gap. Neirola in second, third for Speff, fourth for Mickevicius, and Talianos in fifth. Sixth is with Yuri Lapo. So seeing a few of the faces that ran in the MX-5 race as well. And Mendelis with 15 kilos of BOP. Neirola with 10 and Mickevicius with 5. So keeping the grid closer. But Mendelis still on top, at least for the time being. And we'll see if anybody else can improve. Running about 12 seconds quicker than the MX-5s.
Yeah, exactly. Then, well, Matas Mendelis is roughly 12 seconds faster than Jan Nimtz was.
Oh, Talianos up into the front row of the grid, 25.912, just two, well, let's say 300ths off pole.
Yeah, but his session is already finished. It has already finished. He found himself in the gravel. I think it was a planned move. He moved back to the pit lane. Now he'll sit tight and wait for the drivers to finish it off. A nice attempt by Talianos, though his rivals are still on the racetrack, including Neirola, Speth Mickevicius, Saldukas, and of course our current qualifying session leader Matas Mendelis. He's still on the racetrack trying to improve. He sees the competition, it's getting tighter, so he knows that that might be the end of the qualifying session, and what might be the pole position for the second round for the Lithuanian with the heaviest car, which means he got the biggest amount of points in the first round and he runs sideways. I'm not sure that this is the fastest way around the circuit. Neirola went slightly faster, 1 minute 25.976, but that's
not enough for front row even. Speff,
he's in the gravel.
Nope, not gonna go quicker. Mickevicius, can he go again?
Nope, he doesn't, which is the best news for Matas Mendelis, because O'Brien crosses the line, goes slightly faster, but also far from competition. But I enjoy seeing the tighter gaps in this championship, and that's because you have to hold at least a Pro AM license to start in this series. Did Matas go faster? No, he didn't.
No.
Well, we've seen him making mistakes.
1.5 seconds slower. So maybe some traffic that he encountered around the lap. It's interesting to see him finish that lap, but 1.5 seconds slower than his fastest lap. Fantastic effort by Talianos to make it onto the front row. I think he'll know where those 300ths of a second were to go pole, but still, fantastic effort. Second on the grid and front row for race 1.
Yep.
Neirola in third, fourth for Speff. Mickevicius in fifth. Standings-wise, it's Mendelis and Neirola on equal points. 43, Mickevicius on 30. 24 for Speff, 20 for Grodinis. That's your top 5 in the championship.
And you see the results on your screens of this qualifying session. 15 drivers aboard. Diana will start from the back row, from the final spot on the grid. Gidzavicius 14th, Mertz 13th, Martin 12th, Gonzalo 11th, Januszaitis 10th, McFly 9th, O'Brien 8th, Lapo 7th, Solduka 6th, and Mickevicius, Speth, Neirola, Talianos, and Mendelis, your top 5 starters. The same rules apply for this championship, the Porsche Cup Summer Championship. Top 5 finishers from the first race will start in a reversed order. The setups of these cars are halfway fixed. Well, you cannot adjust a lot of things except of a couple of adjustments like fuel, tire pressure, I believe the ARBs, and was there something else that the drivers can adjust in their cars in this championship? Have already forgotten, but it's not totally closed setup, so the drivers have the chance.
They can adjust their driving.
Oh yeah, that's the main adjustments that the drivers can do. Nice catch. And we are already on the grid with Mendelis right in front of all of his rivals. They will start off and go straight into the paddock hill bend, which is a downhill corner where the front end of the car wants to step out for the drivers, but you have to trust your car and get back on the throttle as early as possible because the cars start climbing up that hill on Hailwoods. Then into Druids and down into the Graham Hill. So a couple of interesting corners in front of the drivers as we start the starting procedure.
Yep, drivers get ready with 5 seconds to go. The lights come on. And we're green for race 1 in the Porsche Cups. Oh, difficult start for Mendelis, and that puts, well, almost Talianos can get into the lead. Not quite, and actually goes wide. Cold tires on these cars. They're going to struggle through that one. Talianos now coming up, and I think he's been overtaken by Speff. Yep, Speff makes it down the inside, so Talianos being a little bit careful, and maybe that carefulness is, well, making him struggle in terms of track position. Looking from the car of Mickevicius, Soldukas in 6th in the 991 machine. And he's trying to get closer. Lots of sliding, lots of understeer and oversteer. Well, everything apart from the cars going straight. Talianos tries to maybe think of a move against Speff. Doesn't happen. There's Speff's teammate, Neirola, right behind.
Someone's off the track. Someone is off the race track.
Talianos was off the road. Anybody else? Talianos, Speff. Neirola, yep, Neirola down in 13th from 4th. So you're gonna have to try and recover. So definitely had made contact with Talianos. And Talianos will have to gain back the spots if he wants to capitalize on his 2nd place in qualifying. Here's Mendelis, 1.2 seconds at the front of the field. Simon Speff right behind. Then Mickevicius, O'Brien, Talianos, Soldukas, Januszaitis, McFly, Martin, Lapo, Neirola, Gonzalo, Mertz, Gidzavicius, and Diana in 15th spot. That's your top 15, well, 15 cars on track at the end of lap 1. Speff losing time still. Mickevicius, he's still in kind of that slipstream range. We'll see what Talianos can do, because he's got O'Brien in front. He was definitely quicker in qualifying, and looks like he's putting pressure on the mid-lap crisis driver, Lee O'Brien, well known to World Sim Series fans worldwide. And putting pressure on O'Brien, definitely. That's well, almost the closest gap on track, but Fly down in 8th. Battling as well, and against Januszaitis, and I think he's gonna make the move against the tire. Backs out. It's more difficult to make moves in these cars, definitely. I think there was a chance at an overtake, and round the outside, McFly tries. Well, we did it in the MX-5. Let's see if
Martin is there, right on the tail of both of these drivers. Wants a piece of that cape for himself. Januszaitis lost a place for McFly, and now he risks to lose it to Martin. This is all happening in the top 10 places, side by side into the first quarter, running down the hill. Better line belongs to Martin. If he stays in front, he will have a better line into the Druids corner, and I think he'll be able to hold on to that position. Lots of smokes coming off from the tires. These cars don't have ABS nor traction control. The tires should be up to temperature, so the drivers have to be careful not to overheat them while racing hot-headed. But look at the gap that McFly managed to pull off against Martin this time. It was Januszaitis whom he was battling, but Januszaitis lost a position to Martin on almost the same corner. And I think yep, he stays right on the tail of Martin. Lapo is battling Neirola, so Yuri Lapo finished second in the second race of the MX5 Championship. He's currently 10th and running a little bit wide, which will cost him at least one place. Well, Gonzalo, he was a little bit further back behind. What about Neirola? So Neirola is 10th, 8/10ths of Januszaitis. He'll be making some recovery moves.
Yeah, struggling. Definitely, it's not easy to overtake. Taliano's actually dropping back from O'Brien. We lost someone. No. Taliano's dropping back from O'Brien. Solduka's actually putting pressure on Taliano's. 0.3 of a second back. This is Neirola recovering. Well, not anymore. This is Soldukas now, trying to put pressure on Talianos, riding on board with Soldukas. Getting closer, but not close enough. Big run through the gravel, well, through the grass. And we'll see what he can do. Down into second, and then short shift up to third. Interesting to see that gearing choice. I would have said that's a third gear turn.
Yeah, looks like he is eager to get back on the power, so he chooses to kind of control it with the gearing rather than with his right foot. These cars don't have traction control. You have to be gentle with the throttle. So if you're not so gentle, maybe you try to short shift out of these slow corners.
Just gone in with a higher gear. The car looks quite stable enough for that. Well, does well to still stay close, relatively close. Neirola still not past Januszaitis.
Oh, he's close. He's close, right on the tail.
A bit of front-end damage, I can see. At least in that shot it looked like. So maybe that's what's stopping Neirola, because well, he's definitely quicker than to run in 10th and then to struggle for a full lap. Big lockup from Januszaitis down into Paddock Hill. And, well, loses that spot, but comes back, at least tries to, and almost takes Neirola out with him.
Yeah, it didn't work out for Januszaitis, so he dropped down to 10th, Neirola up to 9th. For at least, well, Neirola needs to overtake at least 4 cars in front of him, including Martin, McFly, Soldukas, and Talianos, and I don't see that happen. Well, it's not going to be an easy game, especially...
Soldukas for 5th. Remember, 5th place takes pole for race 2. So Soldukas wants that place and wants that pole position. So getting closer and trying to make moves now. They've got a gap behind. It's about 2.8 seconds. Probably will not catch up in front. It's about 1.1. So fight it out for pole in race 2. For race 2. I think Talianos must have damage as well, or at least a little bit, because he was involved in that with Neirola. So if Neirola has damage, I'm going to bet that Talianos has damage as well.
Well, Talianos qualified second for this race, so he definitely had the pace, though the gaps and the pace difference between these drivers was closer to none. The gaps are really tight, so it's not that important during this race, because racecraft is much more important in races like these. So maybe Talianos is suffering a little bit from the damage, maybe a little bit from frustration, because he started off the running in P2. He's down in P5, has to cover off the moves of Soldukas. Look at the gap between Speth and Mickevicius. It's not over well, the battle for P2 is also not over, and it reduces quite drastically. Well, Mendelis is comfortably in the lead, but Simon Speth, well, he's struggling at least in this current lap. The gap was, well, at least 1 second.
There's a lot of damage on the left.
So maybe he was also involved in that first lap accident, which saw Neirola lose quite a lot of places. So look at Neirola, he's already up to 8th, 2 seconds behind McFly. So it's hardly possible for him to fight for P5. But you never know what happens in front, because there are some tight battles happening between the drivers. And Talianos, by the way, he's right on the tail of O'Brien. What will
He's recovered because actually Lucas 1.8 behind, so something changed. Talianos.
Well, I can tell you what changed. Talianos just put in a really nice lap of a 1 minute 26.2, while Saldukas did a 1 minute 27.8. So definitely some sort of a mistake from the driver of Saldukas. But Talianos, he's also... Well, he's driving beautifully right now in this stint. 5.5 minutes of the clock, of the race time on the clock.
He also kind of calmed down from that start and can now put in more regular lap.
So Talianos right on the tail of O'Brien, Mickevicius right on the tail of Speth. So the cores do change at the very end of this first race. So what looked like to be a race from lap 2 to the finish line. Well, the pace changes between the drivers right now, and we will see a couple of battles, well, at least one of those battles happening on the racetrack at this moment. But Talianos is really, well, he's interested in P4 in the first race. And I think Talianos, I don't have the overall standings in front of me, but he did he run in the first race of this championship?
Not sure. But, well, in this race at least, getting closer and improving lap times. So, interesting to see drivers that will slow in the beginning come back to life. I wouldn't think the tire wear has an effect here. Unless you're overheating the tire, but I would doubt that as well.
Well, maybe the different tire pressures come into play, because I think that option is ticked off and the drivers can adjust the tire pressure. So maybe that's what gives the different paces on the different stages of this race.
Talianos was not there for round 1, so this is his first round. But your best 4 out of 6 count anyway. So even if you miss 1, even if you miss 2, you could still win the championship if that's the goal. And I'm sure it is for many of them. Talianos, he's very much close to O'Brien now. But thinking about those tire pressures, I mean, if that is the case, kind of wow, Talianos actually got an incredible exit and is gonna.
Oh! What happened here? Oh, guys, it happened running down the straight.
Wow. So they kind of moved into each other.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check this on the live stream. It will act as a replay machine. So.
Yeah,
actually, Talianos was moving towards the left. I would probably pin that blame on Talianos, but might have to check some more angles. Why is Talianos 5th? Because we have a car in the pits. Right, okay. But yeah, that's definitely done for Leo O'Brien. I'm sure the stewards will have look at this one. So from the front row of the grid potentially for race 2, now in the pits repairing. So Talianos, he's been involved in 2 incidents in this race, but I think he might just survive. Actually, what happened to Soldukas? Why is he behind McFly? That's a pretty big battle going on for 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Yep, and Neirola is right there. He's actually 7th now, so 2 cars in front of him.
Actually battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th because we have a car in the pits. So this is a battle for pole for race 2. 2 laps to go for everybody. And, well, this will be intense. I think Soldukas wants this, but he's losing pace. So Neirola needs to dispatch Soldukas as quickly as possible. Then maybe he's got a chance at pole for race 2. Would be a fantastic recovery off the road.
Someone's off the road.
Yep. Soldukas off the road. And was that... Did anybody help him? I'm not so sure. Looking at the gap, no. Oh, Soldukas off the road, so...
He's struggling.
Yep, definitely. Let's have a look at Neirola. Yep, he's got about half a second to McFly. He needs to put the pressure on. He needs to put in the lap of his life, because now they're going to get to the final lap of the race. Now Mendelis will start his final lap. And this is the final chance for Neirola to get to pole. Big slide from McFly. This is the chance for Neirola to the inside. And I think he's going to make it even before the turn. We'll just have to hold on. Stays to the inside. Beautifully done. I don't think McFly... actually, McFly does have an answer to that. He's getting closer, getting closer, getting closer to the outside. Tries the outside. And not going to happen to the outside. I think Neirola will just about hold this one, and he'll have to hold it for the rest of the lap, and he's been so much quicker. And what a recovery from him. He was down almost in last position, and, well, up the field now. And we'll be starting, if he can keep this position, on pole for race 2.
Yep, so there's your recovery drive, so no problems for Matas Mendelis in this first race so far. But having one of your main rivals starting at the front for the second race, that might end up in a different story. So it didn't start off so well for Wss Neirola, but he managed to keep it together at one point. It seemed that...
Have a look at Matas Mendelis, who should be crossing the line anytime now. Yes, he is. Coming across the line. Dominant drive. 5 seconds up in front. And Matas Mendelis wins race 1 ahead of Simon Speff. Then it's Mickevicius. Then it's Italianos. Big question mark on his result. And Wss Neirola in 5th, 6th for Soldukas.
No, actually 6th for McFly.
Yep, okay. Timing went crazy. 6th for McFly. 7th for Soldukas. 8th for Lapo. 9th for Diana Mertz. No, Diana is a lap down. So it will be Mertz, Gedzavicius, Januszaitis, Gonzalo, Martin, and O'Brien is retired from this one. We'll see if he's back for race 2.
Yep, this was a really nice run from the guys. Again, really competitive stuff, and they didn't avoid mistakes in the first race, so I'm already willing to see the start of the second one. As soon as the drivers will get back into the pit lane, we'll have a short wait time, and I'm pretty sure we'll start off with the second run in a couple of moments. As we'll wait for the start of the second race, let's take a quick look at the results of the first one once again. So Lee O'Brien, he finished 15th after that accident. He had a big hit into the wall, not by himself, by a little help from Tilianos. That's gonna be a hard work for our referee to decide which fault was that on. But then, yeah, we have Diana 14th, Gonzalo 13th, Martin 12th, Januszaitis 11th, Gedzavicius 10th, Mertz 9th, Lapo 8th, Soldukas 7th, and McFly 6th. These drivers will start the second race from these positions that they have finished the first one. And we have Neirola, Italianos, Mickevicius, Speff, and Mendelis starting from 1st to 5th. As they have been called off. So Neirola managed to do a phenomenal recovery drive, and he'll be starting the second race from pole position. Looks like we have a wait time set up on the server, so let's make a short break and we'll be back with more racing action in a couple of moments.
And welcome back to the track. Here we go for the final race of tonight. The Summer Cup doubleheader, as we always have them on Tuesdays. Neirola on pole, and we're off. Oh, a little bit of a slide. That looks like that inside line is just a little bit more slippery to the outside.
Ooh,
wow! What a
late
send from
breakers.
Mendelis. Wow, what a send from Mendelis. He takes Mickevicius right off the road, removed from, well, he was at the, and Mickevicius now locking up as well. So Mendelis removed Mickevicius from the circuit. Italianos into the lead. He's gotten past Neirola. These two obviously collided in race one. Soldukas up into third.
Yep, Speth, they're actually running side by side with Soldukas.
Wow, what a start from Soldukas. He's gone from 7th to 3rd. Battling Speth now for that podium spot. Oh, somebody off into the grass. Mendelis right behind Soldukas as well, as they both go through. Speth off a little bit wide. He's got, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 probably cars who want that position now. But he might just be able to get his tires back up to temperature and be able to fight again. Mendelis, well, he needs to get past. He's got damage on the rear.
I'm not sure how he got damage on the rear. Well, he was
I think what happened was he got hit into turn 1, and that's why he went on that kamikaze run through turn 1. Yeah. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt here. I really don't want to believe that he just sent that into turn 1, removed Mickevicius from the road, and, well, continued on. Probably got hit in the rear. Somebody locking up!
That's McFly.
Yep, McFly. And O'Brien gets past McFly. O'Brien into 7th already. Wow. He's on a mission.
Yeah.
Definitely.
He had a great run in the first race up until that moment that, well, he collided with the Italianos and ended up in the barriers, but it looks like he didn't want to call it the day, and he has the pace, so he wants to use that to his own advantage. Well, at least to have some fun in the second running of this race. Mickevicius is also back on the back end of O'Brien. Remember, Mickevicius finished 3rd in the first race, and he wants that recovery drive for himself also. Up the hill and tries to swap the lines. That's a very fast corner in front of the drivers. Just a tiny bit of braking and still managing to run it side by side down the hill into the next right-hander. It looks like Matas Mickevicius has that move, covered it off. He needs to cover up the inside line. No, he has plenty of trust in his rivals, and he didn't even go defensive. O'Brien runs a little bit wide.
Right into the wall, because that car speared off to the left so quick. I thought he was right off into the wall. Loses the position to McFly. That's, I think, the least of his worries. It looked like he was really just heading straight for the wall. I think he's going to get this back into turn 1.
He should.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, runs wide again. Beautiful. Whoa. That's beautiful driving by McFly. And you've seen Soldukas is off the racetrack.
Yep. Did he touch the grass somewhere? Well, that opens up the road for Mendelis. But yeah, Soldukas, great start, but loses positions.
Well, it was only 6/10 between Soldukas and Mendelis as they crossed the line. Hopefully they did not have a contact between themselves, and Justin Soldukas just made a mistake from the pressure that Matas Mendelis was putting on his shoulders.
Yeah, I'm just looking at a replay. I think that's the case, because their gap was about 0.4, 0.5 of a second, and then it just dropped. Yeah. So I'm going to guess that it was just a mistake. Well, I mean, unless the two teammates collided, which would be great. Let's see what Mendelis can do now. He's 3.2 off the lead. Italianos had a 4th in race 1, so if everything stayed the same, Mendelis would take victory in this evening. Neirola was 5th and now going for 2nd.
Well, Matas Mendelis is trying, but he was not the fastest car on the track on the previous lap, though those gaps, the pace is really similar, so the 3.1 seconds gap is, well, you could call it safe at this stage of the race for Talianos, and he was the faster car, but only by 1.5 tenths on the previous try. It looks like the opening of the lap is slightly more comfortable for Matas Mendelis. He managed to gain 2 tenths. Now, well, he's not losing time, so he's gonna focus himself to try and chase down those 2 drivers ahead of him. Well, he has Neirola between himself and Taliano, so first he'll need to put a battle for P2 if he manages to gain on the drivers which ahead of him, which he's doing quite nicely at this moment. Well, at least on this lap he's already 4 tenths down on Talianos, so 5 tenths gained on the lead of the second race. So he's on a mission, but well, it's really a difficult job for the drivers to push to the maximum and avoid mistakes. These cars are quite handful to drive, and no ABS, no traction control. You have to be really smooth and precise with your inputs, and especially while you try to gain on the 2 drivers ahead. Look at the lap time, 1 minute 25.8, so that's half a second, well, almost half a second faster than both of the drivers ahead. And Matas Mendelis was the fastest driver on the racetrack with this lap. That's the fastest lap time of the second race so far. It was a 1 minute 26.0, so Matas Mendelis didn't have to push that much during the first race. Now he's forced to try and drive a little bit faster because the 2 cars ahead of him, well, they are slightly slower, but they're still fast enough to hold on to that lead, and time is ticking away. It's a short race, only 15 minutes, so Matas Mendelis, he needs to concentrate and focus. He's currently on a mission and doing the job pretty well, but we've seen what happens to the drivers that try to gain on the cars ahead or just try to defend their positions. It's really easy to make a mistake. So,
oh, speaking of mistakes, Soldukas runs very wide.
Oh, someone's off the track, someone's off the track.
Januszaitis.
Yep, that's Januszaitis, dropping places. So from 0 to 0, he was running 6th, I believe. Now he's dropped down to 11th. Speaking about mistakes, there goes one mistake that cost Januszaitis 5 places in the second race. And it was a tiny mistake, actually. It wasn't that big. At 126.0, almost 126.1 for Mendelis, 126.2 almost for Neirola, and both of the cars gained on Talianos. So I'm pretty sure and I'm pretty excited that there might be a battle for first place between 3 drivers. If it stays like it is now. But what we've seen in the first race, the pace kind of differentiates at the beginning of the race and at the end of the race between the drivers. So the drivers who were faster at the opening laps, they kind of became slower at the closing stages of the first race. It's going to be interesting to see if if the history of the first race will repeat itself on the second race. That's Ryan battling Soldukas, and that's Lapo against Mertz. And is Lapo on a move? I think he's... Yep, actually Lapo is on a move. So he just gained a spot, overtaking Mertz, and put himself into P9. So this is the 4th race in a row for Yuri Lapo, driving different cars. He attended the Mazda Championship, finished... I've already forgot. I believe he finished 2nd in the second race in the Mazda races.
Yeah, he did. After starting pole or 2nd.
Yeah, so
a lot of racing, so we keep forgetting, but definitely finished 2nd in race 2.
And that's not the easiest job for a driver to race on the same track with 2 totally different cars, is it? So the Mazda, it's a slow car, low-powered car with lots of grip. Of course, no traction control for the drivers, but that there should be a huge difference in the pace as you climb over to the Porsche Cup. So I think Yuri Lapo is doing a good job.
If you've done enough practice, you'll be fine. I think these drivers will... Oh, Mertz going wide. Touch with Januszaitis, but I think Januszaitis might just be able to get in front. Yes, he does. Back up into 10th after that off-road excursion a little bit earlier on. Battle for the lead, though. That's coming back. All cars are under a second between each other. And Mendelis, Neirola, Italianos. Those gaps are definitely coming down. 26-2, 26-3, and 26... Oh, wow, Mendelis 25-8. That is a big, big improvement. Oh, big slide, big slide. Yep, he's trying everything, and maybe making those small mistakes sometimes that can cost him. But trying to get closer and closer. Neirola, he lost a 10th last lap. Might be getting closer this lap, but that gap is stable. Stable for first, but not stable for second. But Mendelis now struggling to get any closer and making mistakes. Could it be that the tires maybe just being used a little bit more on Mendelis' car? Maybe. He's just making a few mistakes this lap. Will get himself together for the next one. It will be free to go as they cross the line. Mendelis, your championship leader. He was coming into this one. He definitely got the lead after the first race as they were tied with Neirola. So now he's in the lead more comfortably and wants to extend it here. Well, he doesn't have to make the move to be championship leader at the end of this one. So he doesn't have to take those risks. And getting closer to Neirola, like 5. Now, Neirola, his problem is he's got a very fast car behind him. He's trying to catch up ahead, but if Mendelis tries to make a move, that's it. Battle for the lead gone. So Neirola has to keep in front, and has to keep in front by enough that Mendelis cannot even sniff a move here. And if he wants to lead, well, if he wants to take the win, he needs to take action right now.
And actually, that's going to be the last lap.
Yep, it is the final lap of the race as they come on to the front straight for one more time. And the whole lead group separated by a full second from first to third. Mendelis wide. I think that's going to be it.
Yep. Well,
I
actually,
think that's going to be it.
the gap between the first driver and the third driver is a little bit smaller than it was 1 lap ago, but it's actually the gap between the second place and the third place is bigger than it was 1 lap ago, and now it's actually Neirola who is slightly closer to the back end of Talianos. But it's the final lap. It's basically on the drivers who will avoid mistakes. So if the drivers will avoid mistakes, they are safe. I don't see a chance of anyone making a move on this final lap, especially as we are running out of corners. So beautiful driving by most of these drivers. Look at the lap time of Neirola, 125.9. The last time they crossed the line, and no mistakes from all of these 3 leaders. So that's what you call a racing series, where you only allow Pro-Am and higher level drivers into the sessions.
Talianos, beautiful race from him, controlled from the lead. It was always, that gap was always close, about about a second. It came down in the final few laps, but Talianos takes race 2 ahead of Neirola and Mendelis, who extends his championship lead at the end of this event. Simon Speff's gonna finish in 4th. 5th is gonna go the way of the recovering Mickevicius.
Who finishes off while running on the grass with the left side of his car, but nice driving by Mickevicius. He dropped off quite a few places at the beginning of this race, and he managed to get back to the 5th position. So Januszaitis 8th, Mertz 10th, yep. Soldukas only P11, and Martin should finish off this race in P12. And I think that's it. All the other drivers are already at least 1 lap down. Getsavicius 13th, Gonzalo 14th, and Diana 15th in this second race.
Yep, so that is it for the races this evening. The next 4 races, well, the next double header of MX5 and Porsche Cup racing will be coming at you in exactly 2 weeks' time. And we're going to be saying hello from the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Should be a lot of interesting racing, a lot of slipstreaming with the MX5s, and quite a bit of slipstreaming with the Porsche Cup cars as well. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here this evening, and have a good night.
Yep, have a good one, and see you next time.